On-site coverage of the Precious Metals Summit is brought to you by Borealis Mining.
Hello, welcome back. We're at the Precious Metals Summit and I'm with Sam Pazuki, the CEO of AuMEGA Metals. Sam, good to see you again.
Peter, great to see you as well.
Good news just came out. I think you released it this morning, obviously related to the Cape Ray exploration program that you've been working on this summer. How are you interpreting the results? What do you make of the drill hits?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Cape Ray is where we've got our mineral resource. 610,000 ounces at 2 grams shallow mineralization. It's what underpins the value of the business.
Yep.
And so we've gone back in there in the last couple of years after doing some analysis, and we continue to identify new areas that we want to go and do further exploration. The drill program that we did in the spring into the summer, I call them step-out drill holes. One of my new board members said, no, these are new discovery holes that you're drilling because they were 600, 800 meters away from the known resource.
Yep.
So a massive step-out program. 2 of the holes were targeting down plunge extensions at Central Zone. So we released those results this morning, and we had a couple hits, one of which was a pretty decent hit, which extends the mineralization down plunge at Central Zone. So when we take a step back, have a look at that hole, but some of the work that we've done in the last, say, 2 years or so, these things are still open. These deposits are still open. And so that's really giving us a renewed interest in Cape Ray and an interest to look at expanding our resource base. But today, we did a resource at 1,750 gold.
Yeah.
We're double that, more than double that now in terms of gold price. So just from gold price itself, we've got more gold there.
Yeah.
Plus all the good work that we've been doing, all the analysis that we've done, we're looking at a material. We're looking to increase the resource in a material way.
Okay. Yeah, because this is obviously, if you look at it on the surface, it's near surface. It's 2 grams per ton around that number. It's quite shallow as well. I think it's about 200 meters in total depth in terms of all the mineralization. If you're looking for an ore body that's going to be quite easy to mine and quite profitable, you're hitting the right marks there.
That's right.
So it is just about scale now. So what's the work that's going on at the moment and moving forward that you're going to be doing to try and increase the scale of Cape Ray?
Yeah, so we've collected a lot of data. We're still waiting for assays from a massive till geochemical survey that we did in an area called Cape Ray West. One of the things that I personally realized in the last 2 years is that when you step back and look at the exploration work that's been done at Cape Ray, if you look at just the drilling itself that's been done, there's been about 100,000 meters of drilling at Cape Ray. I'm just throwing numbers out, but it's about 95, 96% of that drilling was inside the pit shells.
Right.
So this is one of the reasons why we did some significant step outs. It's just there's some conceptual targets in there. Let's get some structural information and let's see what we can learn from it. But the point is that this is a Cape Ray itself. I mean, our land package is district scale. Cape Ray in itself is a large project area, and the exploration work done there is limited. And this is where the resource is. So, we've done a couple things. We've done an electromagnetic survey over the entire Cape Ray belt, basically looking to pick up the EM signature of our deposits and seeing if we see a replication of it anywhere else on Cape Ray. So we've got some preliminary data. We're close to getting the final interp on it, but just from the preliminary data, there are some significant areas that have been identified through that EM survey.
Okay.
That have really lit up. Couple that with the geochemical survey that we've completed. We're starting to get assays back from that. Then we've got a nice collection of data, and frankly, I think we're going to have numerous drill targets to move forward with, and that, along with some of the other work that we had done historically with the analysis, I should say with the historic data, we're going to develop a robust work program for Cape Ray, with the specific goal of increasing that resource base.
So the target would it be more necessarily focused on finding new deposits with the EM work, or is it really going to be more focused on extending the sort of known resources?
It'll be both.
Yeah,
we'll be running things in parallel. We will have a target of over 1 million ounces. I think that's very doable with what we're seeing and the work that we've done, the analysis.
Okay.
We can expand the current deposits we have, plus we're generating a bunch of new targets.
And this EM work that you were talking about there, obviously you're talking it's preliminary, you need to get But from what you have seen, how does the data match up with some of the sampling results that you've seen in the past and what you're doing now? And are there any new targets that perhaps you do now need to go and do some even more work on to go and drill them up?
Yeah, well, it's again, once we get the final results, we'll be able to talk more freely about it. But some of the areas that we've identified as having the same footprint or the same EM signature as our deposits are areas that have had no exploration done on
Right.
them. Right.
Yeah.
This is, some areas are areas that, the companies prior to us, including ourselves, have driven past for the last 20 years, but no one's done any exploration work.
Yeah.
So it actually doesn't align with the data that we have historically because no one's ever done any exploration work.
Okay.
And these things are very interesting. It's very interesting indeed.
Okay, and what about Bunker Hill? Because I know you're doing a sampling program there. You did some drilling there as well. You've obviously, in terms of outcrop and samples, you've found some really interesting copper and gold grades up there. So there's something going on up there. How does that, in terms of your priorities, how does Bunker Hill now sit now that obviously you've got this sort of extended targets at Cape Ray that are looking quite promising?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to have a strategy where we are looking to grow our resource base at Cape Ray, but also building up a pipeline of opportunities from a greenfield setting.
Yeah.
Greenfield exploration is tough.
Yeah.
And we've got much of what we have is greenfields. It's just ground that's highly prospective, but has seen very limited exploration. An investor once asked me about Bunker Hill, how much exploration work has been done there. And I said it's about 1%.
Yeah.
Right. This is a massive area. It's got a tremendous amount of smoke. The drill results didn't bear any fruit with respect to significant gold or copper. But we've had a chance to, and it's frankly, the drill program was small relative to the size of the area, but also the targets. And, maybe we were premature to go in and drill, but we actually got a lot of structural data from that drilling. We've recently reinterpreted, say, the nitty-gritty drilling that we had done. Again, no significant results came from that core, but we are seeing a signature for potential porphyries, which we talked about before, but we're actually seeing it in the core.
Right.
The team is out there right now. They're doing the largest till survey program ever done on the belt. They're going to collect 4,000 samples over Bunker Hill. And they're mapping, and we're finding more outcrop than we initially thought. So once we conclude this program, which is currently 50% done, we're going to have refined drill targets. So we're going to refine the ones that we hadn't drilled yet, plus develop or come up with a number of different targets that we think will pop out from this work that we're doing.
Okay. Something that I wanted to talk to you about was, obviously, I saw that you brought on James Wivell, who's a good friend of the show, and obviously was the man behind finding one of the most significant gold discoveries in the last decade or so, which was Ikkari in Finland. Very similar in terms of geology with the till and sort of the way that you're doing exploration. I think you've always mentioned on this show that you've actually based your exploration model on what Rupert Resources and what James did. So obviously now he's a part of your team. How's he sort of integrating? How's he sort of helping change your mind and change sort of, I guess, the way that the team are looking at things on the ground?
Yeah, James is an incredible addition to the AuMEGA team. He created so much value for shareholders with Rupert and the discovery of Ikkari and advancing that along. And yeah, we've based a lot of our exploration program and style of exploration on what they were doing in Finland. It's almost coincidental that James has come to us. But James himself has admitted to me and to others that he thinks that we're the next Rupert, which is an incredible
it's a big statement. That's a big
statement.
statement.
It's a huge statement.
Yeah.
And James is happy to actually shout that from the rooftops, that he thinks that we've got all the right ingredients to be the next Rupert Resources, which we've believed that. I've been with the company now for 3 years, and my conviction in the opportunity we have has only grown in the last 3 years. So, when you have smart people wanting to be part of good stories, it should be an important statement. Yeah, I think that's maybe the part the market hasn't necessarily realized. But when you look at who's on our board, we've got some very highly accomplished geologists that have created significant value for shareholders. And then James being the more recent one who's joined us, former fund manager as well at Baker Steel. Mike Skeed, who's I think in my opinion is one of the best geologists I have ever worked with, has, picked us as a company that he wants to, continue on in his career with. We have B2 Gold as a 10% strategic investor. They had the pick of all these companies in Newfoundland to invest in, and they went with us. We've got, in this conference here, we've got more corporate meetings than we've ever had. We've got, again, all the right ingredients, the disc scale land package. We've got the right team. We're doing exploration in the right way. We've got smart people that have identified us as being, the company that has that potential of making the next discovery and frankly being the next Valentine on the island. And I forgot to mention, half our shareholder base are global institutions.
Yep.
And so from my perspective, and in my opinion, I think we've got one of the best shareholder registers in the industry. The only thing that hasn't cooperated is share price.
Yeah.
But this is a market that wants to see big splashy drill intercepts, and we haven't given them that. But we are doing all the right things to get us to that point.
Yeah. Also, just on that as well, in terms of the M&A activity going on in Newfoundland, it seems like an area where, sort of, a few years ago it was sort of known as this new frontier. I think, but it didn't have that much attention on it. But now it seems as though the bigger companies really want to get involved. What are you making of some of the M&A activity that we see? We just saw Newfoundland announce
Newfound Gold.
Yeah, we just saw Newfound Gold.
They don't own the island yet.
Newfound Gold, obviously, we just saw them take over Maritime. We've seen Equinox Gold obviously take over Calibre. We saw even Calibre do a deal before that to take over the Valentine project. Obviously, your new neighbours as well, Equinox Gold, El Dorado, are next door to you, poking some holes around. What are you getting a sense of, sort of, the way that the larger companies are now looking for new deposits?
When this opportunity presented itself to come here as CEO more than 3 years ago, junior exploration wasn't necessarily where I wanted to be. But when I looked at the scale of what we have in the jurisdiction that it's in, I mean, it ticked a lot of boxes. At the time when I joined, I often said, and I still say, that Newfoundland is the next big mining jurisdiction for gold mining. And these larger companies are seeing that as well. Yep. That's why you're seeing the level of activity that's taken place on the island. And when you look at all the noise that's kind of happened on the island, ever since 2018 and the gold rush on the back of Newfound Gold's drill results. Yep. The bigger companies, when you look at the map, the bigger companies, you've mentioned them, B2 Gold, El Dorado, Equinox, Calibre before Equinox, they were focused on our belt, the Cape Ray Valentine Lake Shear. That's where their focus is, because that is the next mining district. This is why we're well situated on what I believe is the next big gold mining district globally, let alone in Canada. And then beyond that, yeah, we've seen M&A activity more recently with Newfound acquiring Maritime and doing some consolidation of their own on the island. So maybe they would be called Newfoundland, just take over the name of the province. Firefly from Australia, they've done really well as well to advance their project, the Green Bay Copper Project. Yep. And so there's a lot more eyeballs now in Newfoundland. And it's validating what my belief was when I first looked at the opportunity to come here to this company. This is, and you can mark my words, this is going to be the next big mining district in Canada and globally. Okay.
And in terms of something that we've mentioned on the show quite a few times when we've chatted in the past, is obviously you've got so many highly prospective licenses. I mean, we haven't even spoken about sort of Malachite, Hermitage. You've got the new copper project. You've got Intersection. There's the Isle of Morks. There's so many different licenses there that in themselves, like you've said in the past, a single company could take one of those licenses and really give it a good go.
That's right.
Does a priority for you really now, especially at a conference like this where you're talking to a lot of corporates, does it really come down to, right, we can't do all of it on our own? It'd just be outrageous to think. Surely it's now that we are seeing a lot of excitement in Newfoundland, it's now quite a good time, are you thinking, to see if you can JV, see if you can create some new partnerships to work on some of the ground that perhaps isn't the main priority for you at the moment?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we could do it all by ourselves if someone wanted to give us $100 million.
Yeah.
We could certainly have a good crack at it.
Yeah.
But we have a massive portfolio, and I've often said that we are open to different structures, whether it's more additional strategic investments or a joint venture. or a combination of both. We're open to it. This is the setting, this is the conference in which a lot of those discussions, those conversations are had. And we're under CA with 4 other companies, in addition to B2 Gold's investment in us.
Yeah.
So we definitely have a lot of interest from the corporates, and there is an opportunity for us to joint venture some of the projects in the portfolio. I often say I'd rather own 50% of something than 100% of nothing.
Yep. No, I agree.
And the problem with junior companies is they try to do it all themselves. In a market where the market, again, expects big drill programs and big drill intercepts. But you have to do exploration properly to identify where to drill so you maximize your chances of success. At the end of the day, exploration is a 0-1 game. And most junior exploration companies are 0.
Yep.
Most deposits end up becoming zeros or don't get developed for various reasons. We've got, I like to think, a portfolio of 0 or 1s. So yeah, if Bunker Hill doesn't work out, we got an intersection. You know, if that doesn't work out, we got Hermitage. Each one of those projects, frankly, we know it well, we know them well. Each one of those projects has the ability to host multi-million ounce deposits. And that's what makes our portfolio unique. And that's why I think we're strategically placed in, again, as I mentioned, the next big mining district in the world.
So what are you doing this, let's say, over the next 12 months? What's the work going on that I guess you're doing to try and prove that it is going to be the next big mining district?
Yeah, our heads are down, and we're undergoing the biggest till survey program on the belt ever. That's going to generate a number of targets. From a corporate perspective, again, having discussions with corporates to see what we can structure and convert interest into joint venture partners or strategic investments. We'll continue to do exploration the way it needs to be done.
Yep.
And again, I know there's a market there that has an appetite for big drill intercepts. We want to give them that. We want to maximize the potential or opportunity to get there. So we'll see how the data comes through and the assay results that are pending come through, see where the anomalies are, see where we've got the drill targets, whether it's at Bunker Hill or Cape Ray. Or Hermitage. We'll be going to Hermitage soon to do a till survey program there. And then plan out what the rest of the year will look like and see what next year looks like. Ideally, I'd like us to do drilling in the winter time. So the getting those results back is good timing in terms of identifying what they are and then setting ourselves up to do a winter program if we can.
Good. All right, Sam, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Peter.